And now Stephen Tomkins, long-term trustee of the Nature Reserve and member of our management advisory group, will give a bit more information about some of the rarest plants and floral habitats here at Kingfishers Bridge.
I'm kneeling down here by a ditch at Kingfishers Bridge beside the wader meadow, which stretches off level with my eyes into the distance. And this environment is something that's very special to Kingfishers Bridge. Here in the winter, the water level is up to the level of my neck probably. But during the spring and the summer, the water goes down and down and down. And this is a pattern of drawdown that was very, very common once in the fens. And now it's very rare. So rare, in fact, that the water germander, which is growing here with these little purple flowers, is only found here. It's a very special feature of Kingfishers Bridge. And it's because the drawdown zone of the fens has gone from much of the fenland that we've almost lost this plant. The water germander has been recorded for well over 100 years at Kingfishers Bridge, but it was actually reduced in amount down to a very small population of 15 plants in the Upware North Pit. But when Kingfishers Bridge Reserve started and we recreated a wetland from this farmland, what we did was to go into an endangered species program of conservation and encourage this plant to go back into what was its traditional habitat. So here the water germander grows in conditions which are ideal for it. It's a lovely little thing, and you need to know that we have some 3 or 4 million of these plants now at Kingfishers Bridge that have come back from almost zero in the whole of Britain. This rather unprepossessing looking yellow plant is the fen ragwort. It's one of the special features of Kingfishers Bridge in that we are looking after it. It's very rare in Britain as a whole, and we're trying to find out the ways in which it can be provided with an environment that will favour its growth and development. This species died out in Britain in 1872, and it was not until 1972 that it was rediscovered not far from Kingfishers Bridge at a little ditch in Stuntney. And why it came back there we're not sure, but this is still one of the few places where it manages to grow. We introduced it here, and we've had it here since Kingfishers Bridge began its conservation initiative. The plant is a ragwort, like the common ragwort, but much taller. It's probably at least 1.5 meters tall. It grows typically in reed swamps and by rivers in Europe, where the river takes its course with its own will and creates environments in which this plant can thrive. It's quite difficult to find conditions like that for this plant today, but here in this little reed swamp adjacent to a chalk-rich pond at Kingfishers Bridge, we've managed to keep it going over a number of years. So here it is, in with Phragmites, the reed, and the purple loosestrife behind it, showing you that given the right conditions, one can in fact do something for the conservation of even the rarest of British plants. This area of wonderful limestone flora is a very special feature of Kingfishers Bridge. We call it Billy's Strip because Billy Ackworth was a friend of Andrew Green's, and he wanted us to have some of the wonderful chalk grassland or limestone flora that he has further south in England. So we, from a bare field start, seeded this area with plants which love a limestone soil. The soil here is very shallow. You only have to dig down a few centimetres and you're in the rock. And these plants are famous in Britain for their biodiversity, the way in which they provide so much nectar for pollinators, and the abundance of insects and plants in these fields is tremendous. Here we've got scabious, we've got lady's bedstraw, we've got bird's foot trefoil, field geraniums, all sorts of things. And they are here in great diversity, great abundance, and the rewards that we get from this in insect biodiversity are tremendous. We've got probably 17 or 18 species of butterfly, for example, which come regularly to these fields. It's something that we're very proud to have, and the more areas we have that are limestone rich like this, the better. A lot of butterflies today. There's a tremendous group of peacocks over here. Peacocks are lovely butterflies with their big eyes on the upper surface of their wings. Those eyes are flashed at a predator to frighten them off, because they look a bit like the eyes of a predatory cat or something, and it might put off a bird for long enough to frighten it away. There's a little skipper there, little brown skipper. So many of these wonderful peacocks here. One of our most abundant butterflies. They breed on things like nettles, but their favourite nectars are certainly coming from these scabious flowers. There's a lot of the lovely lady's bedstraw in between here. Wild carrot, field geraniums, all sorts of lovely things amongst the plants. I'm looking here for small butterflies. Here is a small tortoiseshell. The small tortoiseshell is a butterfly that has suffered a bit of a decline in recent years, but we hope it might bounce back a bit this summer. Here on the cranesbill and the scabious are a couple of workers of the white-tailed bumblebee. They're very busy sucking up nectar to take back to their nests. Bumblebees' nests are interesting things because they have quite a small number of bees in them compared to a hive of honeybees where there are thousands. One of the important things that you need to know about the conservation of these meadows is that meadows are a transient phase in plant communities, and you therefore need to cut meadows annually, really. You may remember the old song, "One man went to mow a meadow." Well, that's what a meadow is. It's something that's cut, and hay, of course, is the product. So what James and his team do is to mow this off completely at the end of the summer, when most of these plants are as heavily laden with mature seed as is possible. In the binding up and raking up of that dried crop, the seed is left behind, and The gathered crop can be collected either to feed some of the animals through the winter, or maybe we just compost it in a pile, which again has benefits for wildlife.